Hello and welcome to Calm and Sleepy Science. I'm glad you're here tonight. You don't need to think about anything now. Just breathe and let the day pass slowly, like a comet moving silently in the darkness. You are safe here, enveloped in calm, surrounded by a tranquil space. Tonight we will travel together, not across oceans this time, but across the vast ocean above. The solar system, our little island in the universe, awaits us. There is no rush. The planets move silently, their orbits unfolding like slow, eternal dances. We will move with them, gently, through light and shadow, from the warmth of the sun to the cold edge of the unknown. For a moment, imagine that you are floating above the Earth. Below you, clouds swirl in silvery spirals. Continents gleam faintly in the starlight. You can see the blue of the oceans, the gentle curve of the horizon, the faint glow of the atmosphere, that fragile film that keeps everything alive. From here, Earth looks peaceful, even though you know how noisy it can be. From space, everything is silent. It's the kind of silence that makes you breathe slower without even realizing it. The sun, at the center of everything, shines like a heart made of light. It burns not with fire, but with fusion, the infinite fusion of atoms, releasing heat that travels millions of miles before touching your skin. Every sunrise you've ever seen began as a spark within that star. When you close your eyes and feel the slight warmth on your face, you are touching something that was born 8 minutes ago, 150 million kilometers away. Sunlight is always traveling. Even now, it is on its way to other worlds. Mercury feels this light first, a small scarred world that races around the sun faster than any other. A year there lasts only 88 days, and temperatures range from very hot to very cold. It is a planet of extremes and silence. If you could stand on its surface, the sun would seem enormous, its light so bright that shadows would disappear. And yet, even there, the stars would continue to shine, dimly but persistently, as if reminding Mercury that even the stars closest to the sun still belong to the night. Next comes Venus, brilliant, beautiful, deceptive. From afar, it shines like a jewel, second only to the moon in brightness. But beneath its golden clouds lies a world of heat and pressure so intense it could melt metal. The air there is dense and heavy, with carbon dioxide and acid rain. But Venus still shines softly in our sky, as if beauty and danger can coexist, as if every light we see hides a secret. Earth comes next, our home, our refuge, our one blue miracle. From the outside, it looks calm. Inside, it is alive with oceans, forests, winds, and thoughts. It's the only place, as far as we know, where the universe looks at itself and wonders. Every sound you've ever heard, every person you've ever loved, every breath you've ever taken, it all happened in this little spinning world of water and air, a speck of dust floating in the sunlight that somehow dreams. Beyond the earth floats the moon, a constant companion, a gentle light of the night. It circles us endlessly, pulling our tides, guiding rhythms older than words. The same face always looks back at us, its craters like frozen memories. When you look at the moon, you see what countless generations have seen, the same light, the same silence. It connects us not only to the sky, but to time itself. Mars is further away, the red planet dusted with iron and desire. Its valleys are dry riverbeds, its mountains are higher than any on Earth. The wind still blows there, whispering through the endless dunes, carrying memories of a time when water ran freely. Probes crawl across its surface, tiny emissaries of curiosity, listening to a planet that may once have been alive. When we send commands, they take minutes to arrive, and their responses take minutes to return, a slow, patient conversation across space. You can almost feel how vast the solar system is. Each planet moves at its own pace, orbiting the same light, never colliding, never rushing. It's a ballet lasting billions of years, a choreography written by gravity, performed in perfect silence. And somewhere in that silence, we too float, spinning and dreaming, fragile and bright. Beyond Mars lies the wide abyss of the asteroid belt, a river of stone and silence. Most of it is empty, not a hailstorm like old movies imagined, but a desert of space where fragments float alone, hundreds of miles apart. Each one is a memory of creation, pieces that never formed a planet, relics from the beginning of everything. They move endlessly, circling the sun in patient orbits, silent witnesses to 4.5 billion years. And beyond that, tranquil river waits Jupiter, the great protector, the ancient giant. A world so vast it could swallow more than 1,000 Earths, yet it spins faster than any other planet, with a day lasting less than 10 hours. Its clouds churn like liquid marble, orange, white and gold, each streak a wind that never stops. The Great Red Spot, a storm larger than our planet, has existed for centuries, older than telescopes, older than our own curiosity. To observe Jupiter is to see power without anger, movement without destiny. It just spins endlessly in silence. But even the most powerful storms disappear when seen from afar. Seen from the cold edges of space, Jupiter is just another faint point of light, proof that scale is just a matter of distance. And hidden within its swirling clouds are mysteries that defy the imagination. Oceans of metallic hydrogen, lightning that could crack mountains, magnetic fields so strong they hum in the void. Despite its power, Jupiter serves as a guardian, capturing comets and asteroids that might otherwise wander toward Earth. Even giants can be kind. Floating near it are its moons, a family of worlds unto themselves. Io, restless and fiery, the most volcanic place we know, its surface is reshaped daily by eruptions that paint it yellow and red. Europa, silent and smooth, its cracked ice surface hiding a vast ocean below, an ocean that might be warm, alive, waiting. Ganymede, larger than Mercury with its own magnetic field, and Callisto, ancient and scarred, preserving the history of the impacts that shaped the solar system. Together, they orbit like a miniature system within a system, each world whispering a different note in Jupiter's deep, slow song. Further ahead, Saturn glides majestically, wreathed in rings that shimmer like frozen music. Each ring is made of countless fragments, ice, dust, broken moons, circling in perfect geometry. From afar, it looks solid, serene, as if designed by a divine hand. Up close, it's chaos embellished. Collisions, separations, reformations happening every second, all held in balance by the invisible rhythm of gravity. To view Saturn through a telescope is to witness order within destruction, harmony born of movement. And Saturn has companions too, more than 80 moons, each with its own face. Titan, dense in atmosphere, rains methane instead of water, with rivers flowing through a golden haze. Enceladus, small and bright, shoots fountains of icy vapor into space, and its geysers catch sunlight like diamonds. Within this frozen spray may lie the ingredients of life: heat, salt, and time. Even here, in unimaginable coldness, life may be silently preparing its voice. Between Saturn and Uranus, the sun begins to darken. Its light becomes a pale echo, no longer warmth, just memory. The distance is so great that radio signals from Earth take hours to arrive. Here the emptiness feels heavier, more contemplative, like the silence after a song. This is the realm where the outer worlds float in slow motion, the sunlight dim and the stars bright. Uranus tilts to the side, rolling instead of spinning. Its poles point almost directly toward the sun, creating seasons that last decades. Standing on Uranus, if you could, would be like seeing the sky turned upside down. Its color is soft, a turquoise haze, calm and strange, like light filtered through deep waters. No storm rages here, only winds that swirl endlessly, invisible but eternal. And beyond, Neptune, the most distant of the true planets. Its blue is deeper, more mysterious, almost musical. It is the color of silence, of the deep sea, of the calm that knows no shore. Winds reach supersonic speeds, but the planet appears quiet from a distance, movement hidden in the stillness. Neptune's great dark spots appear and disappear like thoughts, brief and powerful, disappearing back into the cloud tops. Around it orbits Triton, a moon that moves backward, defying the flow, spiraling slowly toward its end. One day, in the distant future, Triton will be torn apart, becoming a new ring, proof that nothing in the cosmos truly ends, only transforms. After Neptune, the light disappears almost completely. You enter the Kuiper Belt, a realm of frozen shadows. Here live ancient wanderers, Pluto, Eris, Haumea, Makemake, and countless others too small to name. They wander through the darkness, dimly lit by the distant sun, so distant that its heat is weaker than the moonlight. Pluto, once called a planet, now exists as something gentler, a symbol of change, of humility, of perspective. This reminds us that names and categories matter less than wonders. The New Horizons probe flew past Pluto once, sending back images of ice mountains, nitrogen plains, and a pale pink sky. Even at the edge of the sun's reach, there is beauty. The heart-shaped glacier on Pluto's surface, called Tombor Regio, looks almost as if the universe is smiling back. It's a frozen love letter from the darkness outside, a reminder that distance can't erase meaning. Beyond that lies the heliopause, the invisible boundary where the solar wind meets the pressure of interstellar space. It is not a wall, but a whisper, a gradual blending where the sun's influence dissipates into the larger galaxy. The Voyager spacecraft crossed that threshold, still traveling, still sending out faint signals, the soft echo of humanity moving among the stars. They carry golden records, messages carved in sound and image, saying hello to anyone who will one day listen. Maybe no one ever will, but that doesn't matter. The gesture itself is the message, that we reach out, that we wonder, that we care. From here, looking back, the sun is just another bright star. All the planets, all their stories, all our stories, all that we are, fits into a single ray of light. And yet, within that little light, there is everything: warmth, time, love, life. It makes you realize that vastness doesn't mean emptiness. It means connection. The same atoms that make up your body have already passed through these spaces, through stars, through dust, through time. You are part of the memory of the solar system, a continuation of its calm, its curiosity, its silent fire. From this distant place, the solar system seems tranquil, almost fragile, yet each planet continues its infinite movement, each keeping perfect rhythm with the sun, as if following a music we cannot hear. The gravity that holds them together is invisible, but it binds everything together: the dust, the planets, the light, and even us. We are not bound by walls or chains, but by attraction, by the gentle insistence of belonging. Sunlight travels outward forever. Even when it fades, until our eyes can no longer see, its influence remains. Some of this light touches Saturn's rings, some shines on Pluto's ice, and some escapes into interstellar space, carrying the warmth of home into the unknown. Each photon that leaves the sun begins a journey that can last 1 billion years. Some will hit the face of a planet, some will be lost in the void, and some may one day brush the skin of another world that can see, that can marvel. It's strange to think that all the light we see is old. Even the moonlight, soft and silvery, is just sunlight reflected back to us. Light that left the sun just over 8 minutes ago touched the moon and returned silently. So every night, sky is a hall of echoes, the light of ancient stars, traveling through time and arriving the moment we look up. When you look at the stars, you are watching history move. Between the planets, the space is not empty. It is filled with the faint wind of particles, magnetic whispers, and the slow breath of radiation. The heliosphere, the sun's invisible cocoon, extends far beyond Pluto, shielding us from the galaxy's sharpest edges. Within it, the planets float in silent security, children of the same heat, moving through the same vast dream. Imagine floating there now, beyond Neptune, beyond everything you know. The sun appears small, a shiny coin in the distance. Around you, stars fill the darkness, scattered like seeds across the infinite soil. There is no up or down, no near or far, only depth and silence. For a moment, it feels like you could drift forever and never reach the end. You turn slowly, looking back. All the worlds of the solar system are behind you now. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, tiny beads of light strung on invisible threads. They glow softly, orbiting in perfect order, moving at their own pace. From here, their colors blend together, reds, blues, light golds, and whites. It feels like a single organism breathing, pulsing in rhythm with something larger. And then, far beyond it all, the galaxy spins. You can see its arms like rivers of stars, curved and luminous, spiraling out from a heart of fire. We are part of this too, a single system among hundreds of billions, and our sun is just one of countless points of light. And yet, within that smallness, we find meaning. We build stories, we seek the outside, we love, we dream. Perhaps that's what makes the solar system special, not its planets, but the way it makes us feel connected to everything beyond it. The same elements that shine in stars are the ones that form their bodies. Calcium in your bones, iron in your blood, carbon in your breath, all born from explosions of suns long gone. You are not just looking at the cosmos, you are made of it. Every heartbeat echoes the same forces that drive the orbits of the planets. Each breath reflects the expansion and contraction of the universe itself. The solar system isn't just out there. It lives quietly within you. The journey home begins when you realize you never left. The Earth is still spinning patiently, waiting beneath your feet, rotating between sunlight and shadow. Somewhere the moon is rising again. The tides are turning, the wind is blowing through the forests, and the night sky stretches above, endless and gentle. From this perspective, everything seems lighter. The noise of everyday life fades into the background hum of existence. All that remains is rhythm, rotation, revolution, rest. You begin to fall back into space, gently, as if carried by the invisible hands of gravity, past Neptune, past Saturn's bright rings, past Jupiter's storms, past Mars and its rust-red plains. Each planet passes silently, glowing faintly in the sunlight. You're not in a hurry. There's no need to be. The journey itself is the destination. And as you get closer to the sun, its light becomes warmer, softer, gentler, until it fills everything with gold. You pass the Earth again, blue, bright, alive. Clouds roll across its surface like silk. Cities shine like their own constellations. You could almost reach out and touch it, this fragile world that carries every song, every thought, every dream. And as you watch, you feel a quiet gratitude for the oceans, for the air, for the gravity that keeps you gently tethered to the surface, for the chance to exist, to breathe, to see, to be amazed. Now you are floating lower, through the atmosphere, through the clouds, through the light. You can hear again the faint echo of the wind, the sound of water, the pulse of life. The infinite has become intimate. The cosmic has become personal. You are at home. Inspire, expire. Feel the rhythm of your body, the pull of the earth beneath you. The same physics that moves the planets moves your heart. The same gravity that binds galaxies together keeps you resting now. You are part of the great pattern, calm, infinite, and complete. The solar system continues without you noticing, and that is a comfort. The planets will continue to spin, the sun will continue to shine, and the stars will continue to whisper their light in the darkness. Nothing is truly still. Everything is simply in its own phase of motion. Even rest is part of the orbit. Even sleep is part of the cycle. As you close your eyes, imagine the sun still burning in the center of everything, steady and eternal, a symbol of light that never demands, but always gives. Its heat reaches every world, every ocean, every leaf, every cell. And somewhere deep inside you, that same light continues, silent, constant, sufficient. Long before the planets, before the warmth of sunlight touched any world, there was only dust, a cloud of silence floating through the galaxy. It moved slowly, almost lazily, made from the remains of ancient stars that burned out and died long ago. Every grain of that dust held stories, fragments of hydrogen, carbon, iron, and oxygen, waiting for something to call them home. Then one day, or maybe over millions of years, which is the same thing for the universe, gravity started humming. Invisible hands gathered the dust, swirling it into a spiral of light and movement. The more it accumulated, the faster it spun. At the center of this spiral, the pressure increased until the atoms themselves began to fuse together. And at that moment, the sun rose. A single fusion point, bright, unstoppable, ignited the darkness. The first sunrise of our solar system did not begin on a planet, but in the heart of that star. Around her, the remaining dust continued to swirl, colliding, merging, separating again, a slow dance of creation. Small pieces agglomerated into larger pieces, becoming heavier, forming the seeds of the planets. Some became rocky and dense, others light and gaseous, but all found their place in orbit, perfectly balanced between motion and attraction. The planets did not appear suddenly. They grew like thoughts, slowly, through countless interactions. Every impact, every rotation, every pull of gravity shaped what would one day become a world. If you could observe it from afar, it would look like chaos, fire, collisions, clouds of molten rock. But through the eyes of time, it was harmony, the beginning of balance, the silent formation of beauty. The Earth, in its youth, was a glowing sphere of magma, its surface restless and wild. Back then, it rotated faster, its days were shorter, and its air was thick with vapor and storm. But even in this chaos, the seeds of peace were forming. As the planet cooled, water condensed and fell as endless rain. For thousands of years it rained, until the oceans rose and the sky cleared. The first reflection, the light touching the water, filled the world with calm for the first time. The moon was born of an impact, carved out of the earth itself when a rogue body struck and melted, spewing molten fragments into space. These fragments gathered and cooled, becoming the silent companion that now keeps our tides in rhythm. Every night you see the moon. You are looking at a piece of Earth's heart, returning to orbit as a reminder of unity. Elsewhere, other planets have formed their own paths. Jupiter, the giant, gathered the leftovers, shaping its gravity like a shepherd's crook, keeping the solar system stable. Saturn and its rings have become moving art, frozen echoes of moons that once were. Further on, Uranus and Neptune became guardians of the distance, their cold beauty defining the limit of the sun's hot reach. All of this, every grain of dust, every planet, every orbit, came from the same moment of light. Creation was not an explosion. It was a gentle unfolding, a patient emergence. The universe is in no hurry. It moves in rhythms too slow for us to see, but so precise that even now, billions of years later, everything still dances to the original tune. When you look at the night sky, you're not looking at space. You're looking at time. Starlight carries the memory of beginnings, the record of what once was. Even the sunlight that touches your window is ancient in its own way. It began its journey into the heart of the sun before you were born, before your day began, before you even thought to look for it. And yet, here it is. Creation never stopped. It just changed shape over and over again until it became this very moment. Within every atom of your body is the same story, forged in the stars, scattered by gravity, brought back together in you. The universe slowly built itself into consciousness, and that consciousness now looks back, wondering. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are your consciousness, your reflection, your dream of yourself. And in that realization, there is peace, because nothing really ends. The dust that once formed planets will one day become stars again. The light that travels outward will find new eyes, new worlds, new forms. Even when the sun eventually disappears, its atoms will seed another generation of light. Creation, it seems, is simply the universe breathing in and out forever. And as you listen, you can almost hear it. The rhythm of time, the heartbeat of the stars, the silent pulse of everything becoming. It's the same rhythm you feel in your breathing, the same pull that keeps your feet on the ground, the same balance that keeps the planets in orbit. The cosmos is not far away. It's intimate, resting gently inside you. Somewhere in the depths of silence, the solar system continues to spin, not because it must, but because movement is its nature. Everything moves, and in this movement, everything rests. The planets orbit the sun not out of chaos, but out of trust, each held perfectly by invisible lines of gravity, each obeying a rhythm older than memory. And as you listen, you realize that the same rhythm lives within you. Your breath expands and contracts like a tide. Your heartbeat follows its own orbit. Even your thoughts rise and fall like the faint pull of heavenly bodies moving in the darkness. The universe does not stop at the limits of space. It continues within you, silent, rhythmic, eternal. Gravity, that gentle force, is the thread that sews everything together. Don't push, invite. He does not command, he embraces. Through it, planets hold their places, stars gather into galaxies, and your feet remain gently on the ground. Every act of rest is gravity in miniature, your body giving in, the world holding you up in return. Sleep is also an orbit. You circle inward, away from the noise and light, drawn back to the stillness. Dreams pass through your mind like comets, brief, bright visitors that disappear as dawn approaches. Each night, your consciousness dissolves into the same darkness that contains the stars, and in that darkness, you are remade. The solar system rotates, and so do you. Both are cycles of transformation. Imagine for a moment the sun rising in slow motion, its rays spreading across each planet. Mercury waking up first, then Venus, then Earth. Mars glows faintly red in the red light. Jupiter's clouds glow gold. Saturn's rings catch the glare like 1,000 frozen rainbows. Further away, Uranus and Neptune shine like pale lanterns in a sea of twilight. Each world receives its share of heat and then offers it back to the void. Light moves in circles, just like life. And even in the far reaches, where the sun's heat barely reaches, the darkness is not empty. It contains the echoes of what once was. Drifting particles, waves of radiation, whispers of magnetic fields. The edges of the solar system are not an end. They are a resting point, the space between breaths. In this silence, even time seems to expire. You can imagine the future now, millions of years ahead. The planets will continue to rotate, although perhaps more slowly. The sun will continue to shine, but one day it will also get tired. Its fuel will decrease, its color will change, and its heat will disappear. But even so, he won't really die. Its remains will scatter through space, joining the dust that will one day form another star. Creation and dissolution, the same pulse, the same calm inevitability. And long afterward, when new worlds are born, perhaps another consciousness will look up, imagining the light that began with us. Perhaps they too tell stories to help them sleep, whispering of distant suns and the comfort of belonging. Because the universe does not forget. It remembers through repetition, through pattern, through continuity. You are part of that memory now, a brief, bright flash in an unbroken chain of existence. So as you rest, feel the orbit of your own thoughts slow down. Feel the pull of calm drawing you inward. You are not falling asleep. You are aligning with the rhythm of the cosmos. Every breath is a sunrise, each exhalation is twilight. The solar system moves in its great silent circle, and you float with it, weightless and at peace. In this stillness, time loses its edges. The future, the past, the present, everything dissolves into a gentle current. There is no need to think, to measure, to understand. You are enough as you are in this vastness that embraces everything. The same light that formed the planets now warms your skin. The same gravity that guides the stars now guides your rest. And when the final light disappears behind your eyes, you can hear it, a silent, infinite, gentle hum. It is the sound of everything continuing, the heartbeat of the sun, the breathing of the universe, the gentle turning of the worlds. You drift within that endless chord, neither awake nor asleep. A soft consciousness suspended in the fabric of space. Around you the universe breathes, slow, patient, eternal. Its inhale is the birth of stars, its exhale the quiet cooling of worlds. Between those vast breaths of creation and rest, the universe continues to build itself in silence. Each second, a new star is born somewhere in the cosmos, around once every 10 seconds by our best measure. Most will never be seen. They ignite quietly inside dense clouds of gas and dust, where gravity gathers matter grain by grain until pressure turns into fire. These stellar nurseries are hidden to the naked eye, veiled behind curtains of interstellar dust. But to infrared telescopes, they bloom like embers, red and gold, glowing softly with the warmth of beginnings. The Orion Nebula is one of these places, a cradle of stars just over 1,000 light-years away. If you could drift inside it, you would see towers of gas rising like mountains of vapor, shaped by light and time. New suns shimmer within, surrounded by disks of dust that will one day become planets. Some of those worlds will be barren and frozen, others will bloom with oceans and storms. Every one of them begins with the same ingredients: hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, the alphabet of existence. And when those stars age, they will give those elements back. Stars are both creators and recyclers. In their cores, nuclear fusion forges the heavier elements, helium into carbon, carbon into oxygen, oxygen into iron. When massive stars die, they explode as supernovae, scattering their contents across light years. Each explosion releases more energy in seconds than our sun will in its entire lifetime. From that debris, new stars and planets will form again. Your body, your bones, your blood, your breath is made from atoms born in those ancient detonations. You are, in a literal sense, the dust of stars that died long before the sun existed. Supernovae also forge the rarest materials in the universe. Gold, platinum, uranium, all formed in the violent cores of dying suns. When you hold a piece of gold, you are touching the remains of an ancient stellar heart, compressed and scattered by cosmic fire. The jewelry that gleams, the circuits that power your world, all once burned as light in a sky we will never see. Not all stars end in explosion. Smaller ones fade more quietly, shrinking into white dwarfs, dense spheres no larger than Earth, yet containing the mass of a star. A teaspoon of white dwarf material would weigh several tons. They no longer burn, but they glow for billions of years, cooling slowly until they become black dwarfs, cold, dark remnants that mark the quiet end of stellar life. The universe has not yet existed long enough for any white dwarf to cool completely. Somewhere even the oldest of them still glows faintly, keeping its promise to shine just a little longer. Other stars end more dramatically, collapsing so completely that even light cannot escape. A black hole is not an object in the usual sense. It's a region where gravity curves space until there is no return. At its edge, the event horizon, time itself, slows to stillness. Anything that crosses it, gas, dust, light, becomes part of the singularity within. And yet these dark giants are not voids of destruction, they are engines of creation. Around them matter spirals inward, heating to millions of degrees and releasing torrents of radiation. Some of the brightest things we see in the universe come from the edges of black holes, the very border of nothingness shining like a torch. Far across the universe, at the center of distant galaxies, supermassive black holes weigh billions of times more than the Sun. They anchor everything around them, shaping the orbits of stars and the growth of galaxies themselves. Even now, at the heart of our own Milky Way, a black hole named Sagittarius A sits in silence, 4 million times the mass of our Sun. It is not a monster waiting to consume, but a balance point, a stillness at the center of motion. Around it, stars whip through space at thousands of kilometers per second, yet the galaxy remains whole, serene, luminous. And galaxies too come in many forms. Some spiral like elegant pinwheels, their arms rich with new stars. Others, like ellipticals, are older, rounder, filled with ancient suns burning low and red. Some galaxies collide and merge, their shapes distorted into glowing bridges and tidal tales of light. It may seem like chaos, but it is creation in progress, the universe reassembling itself into new harmonies. If you could look out far enough, you would see that galaxies gather into clusters, and clusters into filaments, vast webs of matter stretching across billions of light years. This cosmic web is the largest known structure in existence. Its threads are made of galaxies like beads on invisible strings, separated by enormous voids of darkness. The pattern repeats endlessly, like frost on glass, like neurons in a cosmic brain. Through this structure flows everything: light, gravity, time. It is the architecture of the universe, the design beneath the stars. And yet even this grand pattern is only part of the story. Between galaxies drifts a thin mist of gas, almost empty, but not quite. In each cubic meter of intergalactic space, there are only a few atoms. They float endlessly, warmed only by the faint light that escaped long ago from the first generation of stars. Over unimaginable time, some of this gas will cool and fall again into galaxies, feeding new stars, new worlds, new beginnings. The cycle never ends. Energy becomes matter, matter becomes light, light becomes memory. From the tiniest particle to the largest cluster of galaxies, the same rules apply. Gravity pulls, energy transforms. Time moves forward, always at the same pace, yet experienced differently everywhere. A clock on the surface of Earth ticks ever so slightly faster than one orbiting above it. And near the event horizon of a black hole, a second could stretch into years. Time bends, but never breaks. It is the fabric upon which all existence is drawn. As you float in this awareness, you can sense that everything, the stars, the space between them, even you, is connected through invisible forces. The same equations that describe planetary motion can describe the orbit of electrons in an atom. Patterns repeat at every scale. What is vast reflects what is small. The spiral of a galaxy mirrors the spiral of a seashell. The branching of lightning resembles the branching of neurons. The universe writes itself with the same handwriting everywhere. And as light from distant stars continues to travel, the cosmos itself expands, carrying that light farther and farther into the unknown. Eventually, the most distant galaxies will drift beyond visibility. Their light will never reach us again, their stories fading into the horizon of time. But even as they vanish, new galaxies are born elsewhere, and the song continues, an endless symphony of creation, calm and complete. The light that travels through this expanding universe is ancient, yet always new. It leaves one world and finds another, shaping everything it touches. In the vacuum of space, it moves unimpeded, crossing distances so vast that even imagination must pause to take a breath. A single photon can journey for billions of years without colliding with anything at all, a traveler forever loyal to motion. When it finally meets an obstacle, a grain of dust, a drop of atmosphere, a human eye, it fulfills its destiny, to be seen. Not all light shines the same. Some burns blue and fierce, born from young, massive stars that live fast and die violently. These blue giants, such as Rigel or Deneb, are enormous furnaces of fusion, burning hydrogen into helium at a rate millions of times faster than the sun. Their brilliance is dazzling but brief. After only a few million years, they exhaust themselves and collapse, often ending their lives in spectacular explosions that seed the cosmos with new elements. Others live in quiet longevity. Red dwarfs, the smallest and most common stars, burn their fuel so slowly that they can shine for trillions of years, far longer than the universe has yet existed. If life endures into the far future, it will likely orbit one of these small, steady suns. Our galaxy is filled with them, dim and gentle, their light invisible to the naked eye but countless in number. Astronomers believe that most of the stars you cannot see belong to this quiet family, flickering like invisible embers scattered through the night. Between the largest and the smallest lies our own star, the Sun, perfectly balanced, neither too brief nor too slow. It is classified as a yellow dwarf, though its light is white, containing every color of the rainbow. Every second, the Sun converts about 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium. In doing so, it releases enough energy to sustain all life on Earth, and yet this process has been steady for more than 4 billion years. It will continue for billions more before it changes form, expanding gently into a red giant and eventually becoming a white dwarf, a soft ending to a long and generous life. Around other stars, planets orbit in patterns both familiar and strange. We have found them by the thousands, exoplanets of every size and temperature. Some are so close to their suns that a year lasts only a few days. Others drift in darkness, so far from their star that their skies never see dawn. Some have 2 or even 3 suns, painting their horizons with complex shadows. There are worlds made entirely of water, worlds covered in diamond, and others where iron rains from the sky. Each one follows the same laws of gravity, yet each tells a different story of how matter can organize itself. The nearest of these alien systems is Proxima Centauri, only 4.24 light-years away. There, a small red dwarf holds at least 2 known planets. One of them, Proxima b, lies in what astronomers call the habitable zone, the distance where liquid water could exist on its surface. Whether it truly does, we do not yet know. Its parent star is turbulent, flaring with radiation that could strip away its atmosphere. But even if life cannot thrive there, its presence reminds us that the conditions for life are not rare. They are the natural outcome of the universe's patience. Some stars exist in pairs, orbiting each other in delicate balance. Binary systems are common. In fact, more common than solitary stars like our Sun. In such systems, each star's gravity shapes the other's destiny. When one swells and ages, it can feed its partner, transferring gas across the void in streams of glowing light. Sometimes the two merge entirely, creating a new, brighter star, a cosmic rebirth written in fusion and flame. The oldest known stars in our galaxy are nearly as ancient as time itself. They formed when the universe was young, when there was little more than hydrogen and helium to work with. Their faint light carries the memory of a cosmos still finding its form. When astronomers study their composition, they read history like archaeologists of starlight, decoding how generations of suns enrich the galaxy with new materials. And among these old stars, there are even stranger kinds. Neutron stars are what remain after a massive supernova compresses a sun's core into unimaginable density. A single teaspoon of neutron star matter would weigh as much as a mountain. These remnants spin rapidly, sometimes hundreds of times per second, and their magnetic fields sweep beams of radiation through space. When those beams cross our line of sight, we perceive them as pulses, flashes of light arriving with perfect regularity. We call them pulsars, the universe's most precise clocks, ticking faithfully in the silence between stars. Even rarer are magnetars, neutron stars with magnetic fields 1,000 times stronger still. If one were as close as the moon, it could erase every credit card on Earth and disrupt our planet's magnetic field. Yet they, too, are part of the quiet order, the balance between creation and rest. They remind us that power does not exist without purpose, that even the most extreme phenomena obey the calm rules of physics. And then, scattered like soft lanterns in the dark, there are planetary nebulae, the final size of dying stars. When a medium-sized star nears the end of its life, it gently sheds its outer layers, releasing shells of glowing gas into space. These shells expand slowly, illuminated by the fading core at their center. The result is breathtaking. Delicate rings and filaments of color suspended in darkness, each one unique. The Cat's Eye Nebula, the Ring Nebula, the Helix Nebula, all are reminders that endings can also be beautiful. Eventually, their light will fade, their gas will drift away, and the cycle will begin again elsewhere. Through all of this, the universe remains calm. Explosions occur, matter collapses, radiation streams across space, but from a distance, everything looks serene. The laws of physics keep their promises without haste, without mistake. They are the same everywhere, in the heart of a black hole, in the core of a cell, in the warmth of your breath. What seems like chaos on one scale reveals harmony on another. It is not randomness, it is rhythm, too vast to grasp in a single lifetime. Light continues to cross the void. Some of it was born before Earth existed, some has yet to begin its journey. And when it reaches us, we capture it, through eyes, through telescopes, through dreams. Every image of a distant star is a conversation across time, a message sent long before we knew how to listen. To look up is to look backward, to witness history in motion, glowing softly in the dark. In the beginning there was no light, only expansion. The universe began not with a bang as much as with a bloom, a silent widening of space itself. It was everywhere at once, stretching the fabric of existence like a breath taken for the first time. From that instant of creation, matter and energy were indistinguishable, a sea of pure potential. As the cosmos expanded, it cooled, and in cooling it began to differentiate. Light separated from matter, and the universe became transparent for the first time. This was the cosmic dawn, nearly 380,000 years after time itself began. Before that, everything had been opaque, a fog of particles colliding endlessly. But then atoms formed, simple ones, mostly hydrogen and helium, and the fog lifted. Photons, once trapped, were free to travel. That light still moves through space today, stretched and cooled by expansion, now faint and invisible to the naked eye. We call it the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light we can see, the universe's first memory. Everywhere you look in the sky, that background hum is there. It comes equally from every direction, a gentle reminder that the cosmos began from one single uniform event. To instruments tuned to microwaves, it glows softly, a map of the infant universe. Tiny ripples in that glow, differences no larger than 1 part in 100,000, would one day become galaxies, stars, and worlds. It is astonishing to think that everything we see now, every mountain, every ocean, every human thought, was once contained in those faint ripples of primordial light. From those first uneven patches, gravity began to work. It gathered matter where it was slightly denser, slowly, patiently, drawing gas into knots that grew over millions of years. Those knots became the first galaxies, small at first, irregular, glowing faintly with the first generation of stars. These earliest stars were massive, short-lived, and bright beyond imagination. They burned pure hydrogen and helium into heavier elements and then exploded, scattering the ingredients for the next wave of creation. Each generation refined the universe further, seeding it with carbon, oxygen, iron, the raw materials of everything to come. The galaxies that formed were not isolated. They grew in clusters, drawn together by invisible filaments of dark matter. Though we cannot see dark matter directly, its gravity shapes everything. It acts as the scaffolding upon which all visible structures rest. Without it, galaxies could not hold together. Stars would drift apart. The universe itself would be unrecognizable. Astronomers estimate that more than 80% of all matter is dark, present everywhere, yet invisible to any form of light. It neither emits nor absorbs radiation, but its gravity leaves fingerprints on everything it touches. We know it's there because of how galaxies rotate, how clusters bend light, how the universe itself expands. It is the hidden foundation of existence, the unseen architecture of creation. In those early billions of years, galaxies collided and merged, shaping one another into spirals, ellipses, and vast irregular forms. When galaxies meet, their stars rarely collide directly. The distances are too great, but their gravity interlaces, drawing out long bridges of light, tidal tails that arc across space like luminous ribbons. Some of the most breathtaking images ever captured, such as the Antennae galaxies or the Whirlpool galaxy, show these cosmic dances frozen in time. They remind us that even destruction in the scale of the universe is a form of rebirth. At the heart of nearly every galaxy lies a supermassive black hole born from the same clouds that formed the stars. These colossal objects serve as anchors, stabilizing the galaxies around them. When matter falls toward them, it heats and spins, forming disks of glowing plasma that shine brighter than entire galaxies. We call these radiant cores quasars, and they can outshine trillions of suns. Some quasars are so distant that their light began its journey when the universe was still young, less than 1 billion years old. To look at them is to look into the deep past, to witness a cosmos still learning how to shine. As the universe aged, its light softened. The fierce ultraviolet glow of early stars gave way to gentler colors, the golden light of mature galaxies, the crimson haze of cosmic dust. Star formation slowed, but never stopped. Even now, new stars are born every second somewhere in the universe. The Milky Way alone creates about 7 new suns each year, hidden in its spiral arms. They ignite quietly, each one a new note in the great ongoing symphony of time. Between galaxies, enormous clouds of gas stretch across millions of light years. They are almost invisible, but they carry the story of the cosmos between its luminous islands. Occasionally, light from a distant quasar passes through these clouds on its way to us. As it does, it picks up subtle fingerprints, tiny gaps in its spectrum where certain atoms absorb specific colors. By studying those patterns, astronomers can read the composition of the universe at different moments in its history, as if scanning pages of an ancient expanding book. Even now, the universe continues to expand faster and faster. This acceleration is driven by something even more mysterious than dark matter, dark energy. We don't yet know what it is. It might be a property of space itself, a gentle pressure that pushes everything apart. Or it could be something deeper, something woven into the very geometry of time. Whatever its nature, dark energy dominates the universe, shaping its future. In the farthest epochs to come, galaxies will drift beyond one another's reach. Their light will fade from our skies, and the universe will grow increasingly silent. Yet even then, expansion will not stop. Space will continue to stretch endlessly, like a calm breath that never fully exhales. Still, within this vast motion, there is order. The cosmic web retains its structure, gravity balancing expansion in a perfect dance. Every atom, every particle plays its part. Even the smallest quantum fluctuations echo the grandest clusters of galaxies. Scale disappears, only rhythm remains. And somewhere in one quiet corner of one ordinary galaxy, a small star burns steadily. Around it spins a blue planet, wrapped in clouds and ocean. Its people look up and wonder. They build telescopes to reach farther, detectors to listen deeper, questions to fill the silence. Through their curiosity, the universe learns more about itself. When they study the stars study themselves through their eyes. The light that began in the first dawn now rests gently on that world, on leaves, on skin, on waves. It has traveled billions of years only to become warmth, reflection, thought. And so, the oldest story continues, written not in words, but in light. Time in the universe does not move as it does in our daily lives. It flows not in minutes or hours, but in the slow breathing of stars and the long patience of galaxies. What feels eternal to us, a mountain, an ocean, a civilization, is just a blink in the rhythm of the cosmos. Stars are born, live and fade over spans so immense that even language struggles to describe them. Millions of years are their seconds, billions their hours. When you look at the night sky, you are seeing into the past. The light that reaches your eyes has already traveled for years, sometimes centuries, sometimes millennia. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, sends its glow across space for over 4 years before it finds us. The light from the Andromeda galaxy began its journey when early humans were still learning to control fire. To gaze upward is to witness history arriving just now, carried gently on beams of starlight. Astronomers use the concept of the light year to measure distance, a term that sounds poetic but is entirely practical. It is the distance light travels in 1 year, nearly 10 trillion kilometers. Even with such a vast unit, most of the universe must still be counted in millions or billions of light years. When we look at distant galaxies through our telescopes, we see them not as they are, but as they were when the light first began its journey. Each photon that enters an observatory is an ancient traveler, a messenger from a younger universe. This stretching of time and space is not an illusion, it is the natural order of things. Einstein's theory of relativity showed us that time itself bends under the influence of gravity. Near a massive object, like a planet, a star, or a black hole, time slows down. The closer you are to gravity's pull, the slower your seconds pass compared to those farther away. If you could stand near the edge of a black hole, a single minute for you could be years for someone watching from afar. To the universe, time is elastic, woven into the same fabric as space. Our planet, too, moves within this flexible tapestry. Every rotation, every orbit, marks the flow of time as we know it. A day is the Earth turning once upon its axis. A year is the Earth circling the sun. These rhythms give shape to our perception of duration, yet they are small harmonies within the larger symphony of cosmic time. Even our calendar, the ticking of hours, the passing of seasons, is merely an echo of celestial motion. The stars themselves keep time through their own transformations. A star's color tells us its age. Young stars burn blue and hot, while older ones glow red and gentle. The oldest stars are dim and patient, their fuel nearly gone, but their light still travels faithfully across the void. By studying starlight, astronomers can read not just distance, but history. How long a star has lived, what elements it has created, and how the universe has changed since its birth. Our sun, halfway through its life, is a clock that ticks in fusion. Each reaction in its heart marks another moment in a process that began 4.6 billion years ago. It shines steadily, converting matter into energy, balancing gravity's inward pull with the outward pressure of light. In about 5 billion years, this balance will falter. The sun will swell into a red giant, swallowing Mercury and Venus, perhaps brushing the Earth with its expanding heat. Then it will shed its outer layers, forming a glowing nebula that will drift gently away. At its center will remain a white dwarf, small, dense, and eternal in its quietness. That future may sound distant, yet it is already written in physics. The same cycles occur in every corner of the galaxy. Stars form, shine, and fade. Their remnants seed the next generation. It is the slow heartbeat of the cosmos, measured not in seconds, but in eras. Over billions of years, the universe itself changes shape. Galaxies drift apart as space continues to expand. The light between them stretches, its wavelength growing longer until it fades from visible to infrared and eventually to radio waves. This is the redshift, the mark of an expanding universe. Every distant galaxy carries this signature, its light softened by the journey through ever-stretching space. It tells us that the cosmos is not static, but alive, still unfolding, still breathing outward. To map such distances, astronomers use a ladder of light. They measure the brightness of certain kinds of stars, like Cepheid variables, that pulse in predictable rhythms. By comparing their true brightness to their apparent brightness, we can tell how far away they are. Farther still, supernovae serve as cosmic mileposts, their brilliance visible across billions of light years. Each explosion is not just a spectacle, but a tool, a way to measure the scale of everything. When we piece together these clues, we see that the universe is about 13.8 billion years old. Its age is not a single moment frozen in time, but a tapestry of overlapping processes: birth, growth, decay, and renewal. From the first sparks of fusion to the quiet cooling of dead stars, it all fits within this cosmic timeline. And yet, for all its vastness, the universe remains consistent. The same physics that governs an atom governs a galaxy. The same constants, light speed, gravity, charge, hold steady across eternity. It is as if the universe, in all its complexity, plays a single note perfectly forever. When we think of the future, we imagine expansion continuing endlessly. Galaxies will drift farther apart until their light no longer reaches one another. New stars will grow rarer as gas and dust are used up or locked away. The brilliant age of starlight will give way to an age of cooling and shadow. Planets will wander in darkness, orbiting the remains of long-dead suns. And yet even then, the universe will not end. Its particles will still dance in the faint glow of background radiation. The final stars will fade, leaving behind black dwarfs, neutron stars, and silent black holes. These remnants will persist for unimaginable spans of time, far beyond any human concept of duration. Some scientists call this distant era the degenerate age, a time when energy grows scarce and only memory remains. It may last for quadrillions of years. Eventually, even black holes will evaporate through the slow release of Hawking radiation, returning their mass to the fabric of space as light. And in that final act, the universe will become what it was in the beginning: vast, empty, and perfectly calm. But that is not something to fear. It is simply the completion of the cycle, the long exhale after a cosmic breath that lasted eons. every moment between now and then, every sunrise, every orbit, every flicker of starlight is part of that grand continuum. We exist in one bright instant within it, a brief flare of awareness in an unbroken story. Time flows onward, slow and certain, carrying with it the light of all that has been. And as you listen to that idea settle, you can almost feel the motion of it, the steady ticking of stars, the deep pulse of galaxies turning in silence. It is the rhythm of reality itself, too vast to end, too calm to begin again. Even here, on this small blue planet, the great movements of the cosmos reveal themselves in gentle, observable ways. Though we stand rooted to the ground, the sky above us never stops changing. Its quiet motions tell ancient stories of orbits, of light, of time repeating itself in perfect rhythm. To those who pause long enough to look, the heavens unfold like a slow and endless poem. Sometimes the earth, the moon, and the sun align in flawless geometry. When that happens, shadows write brief signatures across the sky. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes directly between us and the sun, covering its light for a few silent minutes. Daylight softens to twilight, the temperature drops, and animals grow still. The air itself seems to hold its breath. In that fleeting darkness, we see what is normally invisible, the sun's corona, a halo of glowing plasma reaching millions of kilometers into space. It flickers and flows like white fire, delicate and wild, a vision of energy usually hidden by brightness. And when the Earth slips between the moon and the sun, we witness a lunar eclipse. The moon darkens, then glows red, lit by sunlight filtered through the Earth's atmosphere. This crimson hue, the blood moon, is not ominous but tender, a reminder that light bends, scatters, and finds its way even through shadow. Each eclipse is unique, a quiet dance of celestial precision played out on a scale far beyond us. Ancient cultures saw these events as omens, messages from the gods. Modern science reveals them as the pure mathematics of orbit. Yet both interpretations share the same awe, the same reverence for the sky's mysteries. At other times, the heavens shimmer with moving light. High above the polar regions, the auroras ripple, curtains of green and violet weaving silently through the night. They are born from solar winds, streams of charged particles flowing from the sun, traveling millions of kilometers to reach Earth. When they touch our magnetic field, they spiral downward toward the poles, colliding with atoms in the upper atmosphere. Each collision releases a flash of color, a photon of emerald oxygen or violet nitrogen. Together, these flashes paint the night with motion, a dance of magnetism and light. To watch an aurora is to witness the invisible made visible, the constant communication between the Earth and its star. Even the most fleeting lights in the sky have their stories. Every night, the Earth passes through rivers of cosmic dust left behind by ancient comets. As those tiny grains burn in the upper atmosphere, they draw brief strokes of brilliance across the darkness. Meteors, the falling stars of legend. Most are no larger than grains of sand, yet for an instant they outshine the moon. Each flash lasts less than a second, but the memory of it lingers much longer, a reminder of how fragile and beautiful motion can be. Once or twice each year, the Earth moves through thicker streams of debris, creating meteor showers, the Perseids, the Leonids, the Geminids, each named for the constellation from which they seem to fall. During these events, hundreds of meteors may appear in a single hour, each one a glowing particle of dust that has traveled for centuries before meeting its end in our sky. To lie beneath such a shower is to feel both small and infinite, to realize that the universe still writes poetry, one spark at a time. And then there are the comets, wanderers of the solar system. They travel in vast, elongated orbits, spending most of their lives in the frozen dark beyond the outer planets. But when they draw near the sun, heat awakens them, Ice turns to vapor, dust to light, and a glowing tail unfurls behind them, stretching millions of kilometers into space. Each comet carries within it material older than Earth itself, remnants from the solar system's birth. Some return predictably, like Halley's Comet, which visits our skies every 76 years. Others pass once and are gone forever, leaving only their faint dust trails to cross our orbit centuries later. The moon, too, plays its gentle role in the theater of light. It does not shine by its own power, but reflects the radiance of the sun. Its phases, the waxing crescent, the full, the waning sliver, are a mirror of time itself. Every cycle lasts just over 29 days, a rhythm as old as the Earth's tides. Its pull on the oceans is steady, drawing water in and out like breath. In a sense, every wave that touches the shore is a whisper from the moon, a gravitational poem written in liquid motion. Without that pull, our planet's tides would fall silent, and the balance of life itself might shift. The night sky that holds these wonders is not still. It rotates gently around the poles, carried by the Earth's spin. The stars appear to rise and set, though they themselves move little during a human lifetime. In truth, every star is in motion, racing through space at immense speeds, but distance disguises that motion, turning chaos into constancy, movement into calm. The North Star, Polaris, seems fixed, a reliable marker in the sky's slow wheel. For centuries, travelers have followed its light across seas and deserts, trusting its position as a promise of direction. Sometimes, rare alignments create even more subtle marvels. When the sun is low and the air is cold, halos appear, rings of light encircling the sun or moon, born from ice crystals drifting in the upper atmosphere. At dawn, a sun pillar can rise, a vertical beam of light reflecting from tiny frozen mirrors suspended in air. These are reminders that wonder doesn't always require distant galaxies. Sometimes it shimmers quietly above our own horizon. The beauty of these phenomena lies not only in what they are, but in what they reveal, that the universe is not something distant, but something that includes us. The same laws that govern the birth of stars also create the glow of an aurora. The same gravity that shapes galaxies moves our tides. Each moment of light in the sky is a reflection of the larger story, a cosmic heartbeat that reaches all the way to Earth. Even the darkness between those lights is not empty. It hums faintly with energy, filled with particles, waves, and unseen motion. Astronomers have discovered that every point in space carries the faint whisper of creation itself. The afterglow of the Big Bang still lingering, still expanding, still cooling. When we close our eyes beneath the stars, we rest not beneath the sky, but within it. The atoms in our bodies, the breath in our lungs, the thoughts that drift before sleep, all participate in this vast design. We are, quite literally, part of the night. From the quiet immensity of space, the Earth appears small, an island of color adrift in a sea of darkness. Yet within that smallness lies astonishing complexity. It formed more than 4.5 billion years ago from the same dust and gas that built the sun and planets. In those early days, the solar system was chaos, a swirling disk of debris colliding, merging, shattering, and glowing with the heat of creation. Out of that chaos, gravity sculpted worlds. One of them, at the right distance from its star, began to cool and settle. That world would become our home. The young Earth was not gentle. Its surface was molten, reshaped constantly by impacts from asteroids and comets. Seas of lava stretched for thousands of kilometers, and the air was thick with volcanic gas. There was no blue sky, no oceans, no life, only fire and rock. But within that turmoil, change was already at work. As the planet cooled, water vapor condensed, falling as rain for the first time. Storms raged for millions of years, filling basins and carving valleys. Gradually, oceans gathered, and the surface hardened into continents. The blue planet had begun to take form. The moon, too, was born from this violence. Most scientists believe it was created when a Mars-sized body collided with the early Earth. The impact threw molten rock into orbit, where it coalesced into our single satellite. Over time, the moon's gravity stabilized the Earth's tilt, creating regular seasons and tides. Without that ancient collision, life might never have found its rhythm here. The moon's distant glow is a reminder that beauty can rise even from destruction. As the Earth continued to cool, its thin crust cracked and shifted. Beneath it, molten rock flowed slowly, moving entire continents in a process we now call plate tectonics. This movement built mountains, opened oceans, and recycled minerals back into the mantle. It is the heartbeat of the planet, slow but unstoppable, shaping the surface over hundreds of millions of years. The Himalayas, the Andes, the deep trenches of the Pacific, all are the result of this constant, graceful motion. Even the land beneath your feet is not still. It drifts a few centimeters each year, part of the same ancient dance. Above that restless crust, the atmosphere began to change. In its earliest form, it was thick with carbon dioxide, methane, and ammonia, hostile gases from volcanic eruptions. But deep in the oceans, something miraculous began. Simple molecules joined together, forming the first self-replicating structures. From chemistry came biology, and from biology came transformation. Tiny organisms began to breathe and photosynthesize, releasing oxygen as a byproduct. Slowly, over eons, oxygen filled the air, turning the red rocks of Earth to rust and painting the sky blue. The planet was no longer just a world, it was alive. Oxygen made possible a protective shield, the ozone layer, high in the atmosphere, which filters the sun's ultraviolet light. Without it, life could not have survived on land. The thin veil of gases surrounding the planet, nitrogen, oxygen, and traces of others, is delicate yet resilient. It absorbs heat, carries sound, and spreads sunlight into soft hues of dawn and dusk. The very air we breathe is ancient. Every inhale contains atoms that once moved through oceans, forests, and stars. To breathe is to participate in a cycle older than memory. Invisible forces also protect the Earth. At its core, molten iron moves in swirling currents, generating a vast magnetic field. This field extends far into space, forming a bubble called the magnetosphere. It deflects the charged particles of the solar wind, shielding the atmosphere from being stripped away. Where these particles do enter, near the poles, they create the auroras, painting the sky with light. Every compass that turns north, every migratory bird that finds its way, follows this unseen geometry. It is a planetary heartbeat made visible through motion. The oceans, too, play their silent symphony. Covering more than 70% of the Earth's surface, they regulate temperature, absorb carbon, and carry life through endless cycles. Currents flow like veins, transporting warmth from the equator to the poles. Waves break upon the shore, transferring the energy of distant winds into sound and foam. Within those depths lies the greatest diversity of life ever known. Creatures of every shape, glowing softly, moving slowly, breathing rhythmically in the dark. The deep ocean is less explored than the moon, yet it sustains the balance of the entire biosphere. The continents above sea level form another layer of this intricate balance. They hold forests that breathe carbon and release oxygen, deserts that shimmer with heat, glaciers that store time in frozen layers. Every drop of rain, every gust of wind, every grain of sand participates in the quiet mechanics of climate. Rivers carve their way through stone, carrying nutrients to the sea. Clouds rise, fall, and rise again, linking the ocean to the mountains, the sky to the soil. The Earth is a closed circle of renewal, endlessly exchanging, endlessly alive. When seen from space, this entire system glows faintly. City lights trace the outlines of continents. Storms swirl over oceans. Auroras bloom near the poles. It is a living mosaic of motion, fragile yet persistent. The photograph known as the Blue Marble, taken by Apollo 17 in 1972, was the first time humanity saw its home as a whole. That image changed our understanding of ourselves, not as nations or tribes, but as a single shared organism of light and color. The thin atmosphere, the deep blue oceans, the bright swirl of clouds, all reminded us that our world is both vast and vulnerable. Every ecosystem on Earth is part of this interconnected web. The rainforest breathes for the ocean cools the land feeds the rivers. Even the tiniest creatures, plankton drifting in sunlight, fungi beneath the soil, contribute to the harmony. Life does not simply exist here, it shapes and maintains the planet itself. This feedback between biology and geology, between air and water, is what makes Earth unique among all the worlds we know. And yet, for all its complexity, the planet remains simple in its rhythm. It spins once every 24 hours, tilts gently at 23.5 degrees, and circles the sun in a near-perfect ellipse. These motions create day and night, seasons and tides, the quiet metronome of existence. If even one of these parameters were slightly different, our world might be barren or frozen, but it is not. It is balanced, temperate, and alive, a rare equilibrium in an otherwise silent cosmos. The Earth hums. Scientists have recorded its natural vibrations, a constant resonance produced by ocean waves, wind, and the shifting of crustal plates. It is called the Earth's hum, a background sound too deep for human ears, but always there. If you could hear it, it would be a slow, endless tone, the planet's own meditation. And as you listen now, in stillness, that hum continues beneath you, beneath the oceans, beneath the continents, a reminder that you are part of this breathing, rotating, radiant sphere. Life began in water. Long before continents had taken their familiar shapes, before air was safe to breathe, the oceans held all the ingredients of possibility. In their depths, chemistry danced with energy, lightning, volcanic heat, and sunlight striking the surface. Simple molecules met, merged, and transformed. From this quiet collaboration, something extraordinary happened. Matter began to copy itself. It was not yet life as we know it, but the first whisper of intention, the first pattern capable of persistence. These early molecules floated freely in a world that was still raw and restless. Over millions of years, they grew more complex, folding into shapes that could store information, react to the environment, and evolve. The ocean became a laboratory of endless experiments, where only what could survive remained. From these tiny successes came the first living cells, simple, single, yet complete. They consumed sunlight or minerals, released waste, divided, and began the long story of biological time. Each generation improved upon the last, guided not by thought, but by chance and adaptation. The first cells were small, but their influence was vast. They changed the chemistry of the planet, filling the air with oxygen and transforming the oceans from green and murky to blue and clear. Cyanobacteria, among the oldest known forms of life, built great colonies called stromatolites, which still exist today in remote shallow seas. These ancient structures are living fossils, time made visible, still exhaling oxygen into the world as they have for billions of years. As the Earth matured, life grew more daring. Cells learned to cooperate, to specialize, to form communities. From this union came multicellularity, organisms made of many parts working as one. It was one of the most important steps in evolution, the beginning of structure and form. Sponges, corals, jellyfish, and strange soft-bodied creatures filled the oceans. They moved slowly, breathing through water, sensing light and pressure, learning the language of survival. Then, about 540 million years ago, the Cambrian explosion transformed the planet's seas into a world of sudden diversity. Within a relatively short span of time, life experimented wildly with new designs. Shells, skeletons, eyes, and limbs appeared in abundance. Predators evolved, and with them, the first awareness of danger and speed. It was the dawn of complexity, an age when evolution painted every possible form across the canvas of the ocean. From that point on, extinction and creation would exist in balance, one making room for the other. Eventually, some of these creatures left the water. Plants crept onto damp shorelines, followed by animals seeking food and space. The first forests rose, covering the land in green, and oxygen levels soared. Insects took to the air, amphibians roamed through ferns, reptiles warmed themselves in the sun. Each new form of life carried the memory of the sea within its blood. The salt content of our own bodies is the same ancient ocean preserved within us. Through the slow turning of time, continents drifted, climates shifted, and species adapted or vanished. From the age of giant reptiles to the rise of mammals, each era brought new rhythms to the planet's song. The dinosaurs, dominant for more than 150 million years, ruled the land, sea, and air. Some grew to enormous size, others to delicate perfection. Then, as suddenly as they flourished, they were gone. Extinction sweeping through after an asteroid struck the Earth, cloaking it in darkness. From that ending came opportunity. Tiny mammals, once hidden in the shadows, began to expand and evolve, filling the empty spaces left behind. Among these mammals, a new kind of intelligence began to form. Not the sharp instinct of survival alone, but memory, curiosity, imagination. Early primates learned to use tools, to communicate, to recognize patterns in the stars above and in the seasons below. From the forests of Africa came the ancestors of humankind, creatures who stood upright, looked to the horizon, and wondered. But before thought, before language, there was still the quiet continuity of nature itself. The biosphere, this thin film of life surrounding the planet, continued its cycle of exchange. Every breath exhaled by one creature became the inhale of another. Every leaf that fell returned its nutrients to the soil. The ocean absorbed the sky, and the sky gave rain to the ocean again. Life became a single, unbroken process, changing shape, but never ending. Inside every living being, from the smallest bacterium to the largest whale, the code of life remains written in the same language, DNA. A molecule of elegant simplicity, coiled like a spiral staircase of possibility. Its alphabet contains only 4 letters, yet with them it writes every form of existence. The same chemistry that gives color to a flower also builds the wings of a bird, the fins of a fish, the neurons of a human brain. Life does not reinvent itself. It rearranges, adapts, and continues. The diversity we see today, millions of species in every ocean, forest, and sky, is the result of countless generations of change. Some species thrive in volcanic vents, others in frozen tundra, others still in darkness, miles beneath the sea. Wherever there is energy and water, life finds a way to grow. Even in the driest deserts, bacteria sleep inside rocks, waiting for a single drop of rain to awaken them. In Antarctica, fish swim in water so cold it should freeze their blood, but their cells carry natural antifreeze. On the ocean floor, entire ecosystems live without sunlight, sustained by chemical reactions in volcanic vents. Life adapts endlessly, finding comfort in extremes that seem impossible. And yet, in all its variety, life remains delicate. Species depend on each other in ways we are only beginning to understand. The death of one can ripple through an entire ecosystem, changing everything else. A bee pollinates a flower feeds a bird spreads seeds that grow new forests. Each link in this chain holds the stability of the whole. It is a network of quiet cooperation, woven over eons, easily broken but endlessly renewing. When we look at the story of life, we are looking at our own ancestry written across time. The blood that flows through our veins carries the iron once forged in stars. The rhythm of our heartbeat echoes the pulse of ancient tides. Even our breath, oxygen in, carbon out, is part of the same exchange that began with those first tiny cells. We are not separate from nature. We are its continuation, its consciousness made aware of itself. And so, beneath the vast stars and endless space, the miracle of life continues. Each sunrise repeats the promise that began billions of years ago in a quiet ocean, that from simplicity comes beauty, and from endurance comes meaning. The same laws that shape galaxies also shape the beating of a single heart. And within that connection lies the deepest truth of all, that the universe, for all its silence, has always been alive. Life continued to unfold in waves, each generation adding a new verse to the planet's quiet song. Forests thickened, rivers carved deeper paths, and the air itself became alive with sound, wings beating, leaves whispering, the rhythmic breathing of an entire world finding balance. Over time, the land grew crowded with possibility. Tiny creatures burrowed into soil, shaping it grain by grain. Plants reached upward, drawn by light that had traveled 93 million miles to meet them. Among the branches, reptiles gave way to birds, scales turned to feathers, cold blood to warmth. Each adaptation was a response to the Earth's endless invitation to thrive. Flight was not invented all at once. It was the slow learning of gravity's gentleness, the realization that the air could be trusted to hold you if you only shaped yourself to its flow. Beneath the waves, life expanded in parallel. Coral reefs grew like living cathedrals, home to uncountable species of fish and invertebrates. Schools of silver bodies moved as one, bending sunlight into ribbons that shimmered and dissolved in motion. Even now, the ocean remains a mirror of time, holding within it both ancient silence and constant renewal. Then, one branch of life, curious, restless, fragile, began to wonder. Mammals learned to nurture with warmth and memory, carrying life within and caring for it beyond birth. They developed complex senses, smell to trace water, hearing to catch the distant rustle of prey, touch to feel safety and belonging. From them, intelligence emerged not as dominance, but as awareness. In Africa's open plains, under skies so vast that even stars seemed close enough to touch, early humans began to look upward. They watched the moon wax and wane, measured their steps by the rhythm of the stars. Their tools were simple, their shelters temporary, yet their minds carried the seed of infinity. They painted animals on cave walls, not only to depict, but to remember, to speak to time itself. Fire became their first sun, tamed and carried wherever they went. Around it they told stories, their shadows flickering like living constellations. They began to name the world, to divide the unknown into meaning. Yet even as knowledge grew, mystery never vanished. It deepened, like light passing through water. They learned to sow seeds, to wait through seasons, to read the sky for signs. With each generation, humanity became another layer in the planet's memory. Cities rose, languages formed, music echoed across valleys. And though they reached for mastery, what they truly sought was understanding, to know their place in the great stillness that had always surrounded them. Every invention, from the first wheel to the first telescope, was a gesture of wonder, an attempt to touch the infinite through the finite. When Galileo turned his lens toward the heavens and saw moons circling Jupiter, he glimpsed a truth as ancient as gravity. That motion itself is harmony. The cosmos was not chaos, it was rhythm, patient and complete. As centuries passed, science became a form of poetry, and poetry a form of science. The heart and the mind walked the same path, both searching for belonging. From atoms to galaxies, from cells to thoughts, everything was found to be connected through the same laws, the same silent geometry. We began to realize that the boundary between ourselves and the universe was an illusion. Every breath we take contains the exhalations of ancient trees, the vapor of forgotten seas, the ash of long-dead stars. The very act of breathing is a conversation with eternity. When astronauts looked back at Earth from orbit, they saw no borders, no nations, only a single glowing sphere wrapped in a film of blue and white. That fragile marble, suspended in blackness, carried everything they had ever known. In that view, humanity rediscovered humility. The cosmos was not above or beyond us. It was within us all along. From that vantage point, the Earth seemed small, yet full of meaning. Its silence was not emptiness. It was the sound of balance. The same balance that keeps planets in orbit keeps our hearts steady, our tides in rhythm, our breath aligned with the wind. Even now, when you stand beneath the night sky, you are standing inside an ancient conversation between light and darkness. The stars above are not distant. They are memories made visible. The light from Vega left when the first cities were built. The glow of Betelgeuse began when humankind was learning to dream. The universe is speaking through time, and you are part of its reply. The more we learn, the gentler the lesson becomes that power lies not in control, but in connection. That survival is not about separation, but cooperation. That every cell, every star, every thought belongs to the same unfolding story. And perhaps that is the quietest revelation of all, that existence, in its infinite complexity, seeks not perfection, but continuity. To be alive, to change, to rest, to awaken, that is enough. So breathe now. Imagine the forests exhaling with you, the oceans rising and falling to the same rhythm, the galaxies expanding softly in their endless drift. Everything moves together, even in stillness. Everything belongs. The solar system, even now, is not a static collection of worlds, but a living symphony, an ongoing conversation between gravity, light, and time. Each planet continues to move, not out of force, but because motion itself has become their peace. They orbit the sun, with the patience of monks tracing circles in sand, never hurrying, never ceasing. In that endless balance lies serenity, a dance that has lasted for 4.5 billion years and will last billions more. If you could watch the planets from afar, far enough that the sun becomes a small, bright bead, you would see them gliding like ripples spreading outward from a single drop of light. Mercury rushes closest, completing its circle before the outer worlds have even begun to turn. Venus follows with slower grace, its golden clouds shimmering like silk veils in the sunlight. Earth, blue and breathing, turns steadily, its orbit precise and musical. Mars lingers beyond, a silent ember glowing softly in the dark. Further out, the giant planets dominate the slow, deep rhythm of the system. Jupiter's vast gravity hums like a bass note beneath the solar melody, while Saturn's rings catch sunlight and scatter it in pale halos, frozen echoes of forgotten moons. Beyond them, Uranus rolls in a tilted dream, and Neptune sings the final verse, tracing the outer edge of the sun's domain. Between and beyond them all, countless smaller bodies drift. The asteroids, the comets, the dust that glitters faintly when it catches the sun at the right angle. They are the leftovers of creation, reminders that nothing in the cosmos is ever truly wasted. Even fragments have their orbits, their purpose, their slow, silent stories. The entire solar system breathes in cycles. Every 11 years, the sun's magnetic field reverses and storms of plasma dance across its surface. These solar winds sweep outward, brushing the planets with invisible fingers. When they meet a magnetic field, like Earth's or Jupiter's, they paint the darkness with color, curtains of green and violet, auroras whispering at the poles. Even in its storms, the sun creates beauty. On Earth, those shimmering lights remind us that we are not separate from the cosmic weather. We are within it. The same energy that travels millions of miles to spark auroras also powers the chemistry of life, the heat of our days, the breath of our winds. The solar system is not empty between the planets. It is filled with the solar wind, a thin river of charged particles streaming from the sun. It moves faster than thought, yet carries with it the story of the star's heartbeat. At its farthest edge, where this wind meets the breath of the galaxy, lies the heliopause, the quiet frontier where our system ends and interstellar space begins. Voyager 1 crossed that boundary decades ago, and still it travels outward, carrying with it the sounds of Earth, a mother's laugh, the rustle of leaves, the pulse of a heartbeat, and greetings in dozens of languages. That spacecraft, smaller than a piano, has left the solar wind behind and entered the true silence between stars. Yet its signal still returns, weak, patient, unwavering. It is humanity's echo in the infinite, a reminder that curiosity is also a kind of gravity. Closer in, the planets continue their patient revolutions. Jupiter's storms still churn with unending energy. The great red spot, older than our recorded history, slowly changes color and shape, but never fades completely. It is both storm and memory, a mark of persistence written in gas and wind. Saturn's rings, too, evolve. They are not eternal. They erode grain by grain as tiny meteoroids chip at their frozen edges. Some of their material falls toward the planet like rain, glowing briefly before vanishing. In a few 100 million years, those perfect bands may fade away entirely, leaving only faint traces of what once shimmered like a halo of ice. Yet even that decay is part of the solar system's rhythm. Creation, transformation, and dissolution are one continuous breath. Uranus and Neptune remain the quiet dreamers at the edge, their blue atmospheres thick with mysteries we still do not understand. Methane gives them their color. Unseen winds sculpt their clouds into patterns no eye has ever directly witnessed. Neptune's dark storms appear and vanish like passing thoughts. Uranus tilts on its side, turning slowly through seasons that last decades, its poles bathing alternately in unending day and unbroken night. To stand there would be to stand in eternity, time stretched thin, silence absolute. Even further still, the Kuiper Belt hums with frozen bodies. Pluto, Eris, Haumea, and Makemake drift through it like lanterns in the deep sea of space. Some of these worlds are binary, orbiting companions so close that they circle a shared center of gravity, bound in eternal partnership. Others wander alone, untouched for eons, their surfaces painted with ice and organic haze. Beyond even them lies the Oort cloud, a vast sphere of comets surrounding the solar system like a soft shell of dreams. It may stretch for a light year or more, and within it, trillions of icy fragments wait in the dark. Every so often, one is nudged by a passing star or the tide of the galaxy itself and begins the long fall inward. Over millions of years, it glides toward the sun, waking as it nears warmth. Its ice vaporizes, forming a glowing tail that can stretch across the sky, a single spark of memory returning home after an exile of ages. The comets remind us that even the farthest reaches of the solar system are not forgotten. Gravity's song travels everywhere, guiding every motion. There is no chaos, only choreography, too vast to hear in a single lifetime. And within that harmony, there are subtle variations, resonances between planets that keep their orbits stable. Jupiter and Saturn, though enormous, never collide. Their mutual pull shapes the paths of everything else. Tiny Pluto, once thought insignificant, dances in perfect rhythm with Neptune, completing 2 orbits for every 3 of its distant neighbor. It never crosses Neptune's path, it never will. Even apparent disorder resolves into pattern when seen from above. To understand the solar system is to listen to time itself. Slow time, circular time, time that does not hurry. Each orbit, each rotation, each flicker of sunlight across a planet's surface is part of a cosmic metronome ticking through eternity. Imagine now that you are floating between worlds, halfway between Mars and Jupiter. The sun is smaller here, but still fierce enough to paint your face with faint warmth. Around you, space is black and endless, yet not empty. Tiny grains of dust drift past, remnants of collisions billions of years old. Far off, Jupiter glows like a lantern of amber light, its moons like beads on a thread. Behind you, the inner planets shimmer faintly, Venus golden, Earth blue, Mars rust red. Before you, Saturn waits, its rings glinting like frost. Everything is in motion, yet everything feels still. It is not a silence of absence, but of balance, the pause between inhalation and exhalation. This is the solar system's true nature, a living stillness, a moving calm. If you could listen closely enough, beyond human hearing, beyond time as we know it, you might detect the faint resonance of gravity itself, the low hum of planets turning, the whisper of light traveling, the slow drift of dust across the years. It would sound like breathing, because that is what it is. The solar system breathes, and so do you. The solar system is not a single song, but a chorus of worlds. Each planet contributes its own tone, its own rhythm, its own vibration in the great harmony of sunlight and motion. From the innermost orbit to the farthest frontier, every sphere sings in silence. Some in bright, fast melodies, others in slow, distant notes that take centuries to complete a single measure. If one could hear them, the music would be vast, yet delicate, a sound woven from light and gravity, whispering through the fabric of space. Closest to the Sun, Mercury races through its orbit like a messenger of fire. Its year lasts only 88 Earth days, and its surface bakes beneath the fierce light of the star it serves. There is no air to soften the sun's heat, no wind to carry sound, only a landscape of craters and cliffs frozen in silence. Temperatures swing wildly here, blistering by day, freezing by night, as if the planet itself cannot decide whether it belongs to flame or to ice. When the sun rises over Mercury, it does so slowly, its disk appearing 3 times larger than it ever does from Earth. The horizon glows with raw light, shadows vanish, and the surface shines like molten silver. Yet in that brightness, there is a strange serenity, the peace of a world that has never known weather, never known noise, never known change. Next comes Venus, the veiled one, radiant and deceptive. It shines more brightly than any other planet in our sky, outshining even distant stars. But behind its golden clouds lies a world of endless storms and unbearable heat. Its atmosphere is a thick ocean of carbon dioxide, its clouds made of acid, its surface hot enough to melt metal. The air itself presses down with a force 90 times stronger than what we feel on Earth. And yet, above that heavy veil, the winds circle the planet in graceful haste, moving faster than any hurricane. They create a rhythm of perpetual motion, a storm that never sleeps. If you could drift above those clouds in a high-floating balloon, the sky would glow softly orange, and the horizon would curve beneath you like a golden sea. Venus is a paradox of beauty and danger, a reminder that even light can hide a tempest. Then there is Earth, our oasis of balance, the only world we know that sings with life. Seen from space, it is a deep blue sphere adorned with white spirals of cloud, the faint glow of atmosphere wrapping it in tenderness. Its oceans move with the rhythm of the moon. Its forests breathe in time with the seasons. It is the only planet where the silence of the cosmos becomes the sound of waves, of wind, of voices. Earth is both stage and actor in the great solar performance, the planet that listens as much as it speaks. From its orbit, the sun is neither too near nor too far. Its warmth nurtures without burning, its light feeds without consuming. Every sunrise here is a soft repetition of creation, and every nightfall, a reminder that even darkness can hold peace. The Earth's magnetic field hums faintly, catching solar particles that would otherwise strip away the air. And in that invisible shield, auroras bloom, a dialogue between planet and star, painted in green and violet silence. Beyond the blue marble lies Mars, the red wanderer, a world of memory and dust. Its color comes from iron, oxidized by ancient air, a planet forever rusting beneath the faint sunlight. Mountains taller than any on Earth pierce its thin atmosphere, while valleys deep as oceans mark where rivers once ran. Mars once had water, perhaps even rain, perhaps even seas. Today it keeps those secrets buried beneath its cold deserts, whispering of what was and what might be again. Dust storms sometimes cover the entire planet for months, wrapping it in a copper haze. Yet at night, beneath its pale pink sky, Mars is tranquil. Its moons, Phobos and Deimos, drifting like twin thoughts over the horizon. If you stood there, the sun would appear half its size as seen from Earth, yet its warmth would still reach you, faint but familiar, as if saying, "You are still home." Past Mars lies the Great Divide, the asteroid belt, a vast expanse of stone and shadow. Though imagined as a storm of rocks, it is mostly empty, its fragments scattered across immense distances. Each asteroid spins quietly, unhurried, a survivor of creation that never became a planet. Among them orbits Ceres, a dwarf world of ice and dust, its surface marked by mysterious bright spots that gleam like eyes when sunlight strikes. These fragments, though small, are the storytellers of the solar system's youth. They remember collisions, heat, and gravity's first music. Beyond this river of silence waits Jupiter, the ancient giant. A world so immense it could hold more than 1,000 Earths, yet its heart remains unseen. Its clouds swirl in endless motion, bands of white, orange and amber, carved by winds that race faster than sound. The great red spot, a storm larger than our planet, has raged for centuries, though even it shifts and breathes like a living thing. Within Jupiter's depths, hydrogen becomes metallic, turning liquid into metal, generating magnetic fields that hum through space. Lightning flashes within its storms, brighter than any seen on Earth, illuminating layers of gas that stretch for tens of thousands of kilometers. And around this Titan dance, its many moons, a family of worlds in miniature. Io with volcanoes that spew fountains of molten rock, Europa with an icy crust and an ocean beneath that may conceal life. Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, with its own magnetic field, and Callisto, cratered and quiet, the memory of the ancient past. Together, they orbit like notes in Jupiter's deep resonant chord. Next drifts Saturn, the most graceful of all, wrapped in rings that shine like frozen light. Through a telescope, those rings seem solid, but they are made of countless fragments, ice, dust, and stone, each following its own orbit, each reflecting sunlight in its own way. If you could float among them, you would see arcs of crystal particles extending for thousands of kilometers, glowing softly as they move in silence. Saturn's atmosphere is gentle in color, pale gold, soft white, touched with faint shadows. Beneath its calm appearance, however, storms rage with quiet force, and winds sweep across its equator faster than any hurricane on Earth. Among its more than 80 moons, 2 shine with special light. Titan, wrapped in a thick orange haze, rains liquid methane and ethane onto its surface, creating rivers and lakes beneath a dim golden sky. Enceladus, smaller and brighter, erupts with icy geysers that spray water vapor into space, forming a ring of mist around Saturn. In those frozen jets, we have found the building blocks of life, proof that even far from warmth, the potential for creation endures. Beyond Saturn, the light grows pale, as if the sun itself is a memory fading in the distance. There floats Uranus, tilted almost onto its side, spinning like a rolling marble of turquoise gas. Its seasons last decades, its poles basking in years of sunlight before turning to years of shadow. The winds there are slow but constant, carving faint patterns in the soft blue clouds, and still farther out, the deep sapphire glow of Neptune, the final true planet, glimmers at the edge of the known. Its winds are the fastest in the solar system, yet from afar it seems calm, a serene blue lantern burning cold and steady. Around it, Triton orbits backward, defying the direction of everything else, a quiet rebellion that one day will end as the moon drifts too close and shatters into a ring. Together, these worlds are more than planets. They are expressions of the same law, variations of a single theme. Each carries the memory of the sun, the warmth of creation, the balance of gravity's hand. Each moves according to the same invisible rhythm, the same silent music that guides the stars. To drift among them is to travel through time itself, from the fiery birth of Mercury to the frozen edge of Neptune, from the sun's radiant heart to the outer hush of the Kuiper Belt. The solar system is not merely a place, it is a process, a meditation in motion, an eternal exhalation of light. At the center of everything, the sun burns in silence. It is not the loud fire of wood or coal, but the calm fire of creation itself, the union of atoms becoming something greater than themselves. Deep within its heart, hydrogen fuses into helium, and with every fusion, a pulse of light is born. These pulses rise slowly, taking thousands of years to reach the surface, each photon wandering through a maze of plasma until it finally escapes into space. When it does, it begins a journey that may last billions of years, traveling outward in all directions, carrying warmth, vision, and life. Every sunrise, every glint of light on ocean waves, every reflection from a ring of Saturn, all of it began in that same steady fire. The sun is not just a star among billions, it is the rhythm that keeps the solar system alive. Its gravity holds the planets in orbit, its radiation shapes their skies, its light defines their days. Even at the farthest edge, where its warmth fades to memory, its influence remains, like the last echo of a song that never ends. If you could stand close enough to see the sun clearly, but not so close as to be consumed, you would find no solid surface, no place to stand. Only layers of gas, each hotter and brighter than the one above. There is the photosphere, glowing golden white, the visible surface we see from Earth. Above it, the chromosphere, a region of glowing crimson that flickers during eclipses. And beyond that, the corona, a crown of pale fire extending millions of kilometers into space. The corona is hotter than the surface itself, a paradox that still whispers secrets to our scientists. Its delicate filaments stream outward, sculpted by invisible magnetic fields, carried away by the solar wind. Those invisible particles race across the solar system, linking the sun to everything it touches. The solar wind is the breath of the sun. It stretches far past the planets, shaping vast magnetic boundaries that wrap around the entire system like a cocoon of light. Where that breath meets the winds of interstellar space lies the heliopause, the place where the sun's influence gives way to the galaxy beyond. Inside that invisible bubble, all 8 planets orbit safely, warmed by the same fire, guided by the same gentle pull. The solar system is a kind of family, its members distinct, yet bound by shared gravity and light. And at the center, the sun continues to give, tirelessly, asking for nothing in return. Even in its storms, the sun remains beautiful. Dark sunspots mark places where magnetic fields twist and tangle, temporarily dimming the light. But those spots are not flaws. They are part of the rhythm, the pulse that comes and goes in an 11-year cycle. At solar maximum, when activity peaks, flares burst forth in waves of energy so powerful that their light reaches Earth in just minutes. They dance across our upper atmosphere as auroras, reminding us that we are directly connected to the star we orbit. To watch an aurora is to witness the invisible made visible, the touch of the sun upon the Earth's sky. From Mercury to Neptune, every world feels this touch differently. Mercury receives it raw, unfiltered, bathed in brilliance. Venus, shrouded in cloud, turns it into a permanent dusk. Earth transforms it into color, life, and motion. Mars reflects it in red dust. Jupiter and Saturn scatter it in shades of amber and gold. Uranus softens it into turquoise calm, and Neptune deepens it into indigo quiet. The light changes, but the source is the same, one continuous wave of energy, diffused through distance and time. It is as if each planet translates the sun's music into its own dialect, adding variation to the same eternal melody. At the sun's poles, the magnetic fields twist like braided ropes of light. Sometimes they snap, releasing solar flares that arc across space, carrying energy enough to ignite entire worlds if they were close enough. But by the time those waves reach the outer planets, they have become gentle whispers, a slow heartbeat in the void. This balance between power and patience is what makes the solar system so peaceful. The sun gives fiercely but not destructively. It nourishes as it transforms. For billions of years, it has burned in quiet equilibrium. Gravity pulls inward, radiation pushes outward. Between those two forces lies perfect stillness. It is a lesson written in plasma that harmony does not mean lack of movement. It means balance between opposites. Without gravity, the sun would scatter. Without light, it would collapse. Together, they sustain eternity. And yet, like all stars, the sun will one day change. Its core will run low on hydrogen, and it will begin to fuse helium into heavier elements. When that happens, it will expand, becoming a red giant. Its glow will deepen, its reach will grow, and its warmth will touch worlds that have never known true heat. The outer planets will glimmer under a golden dawn that lasts millions of years. For a time, the solar system will be remade in fire, a final sunrise before the long quiet. Then slowly, the sun will shed its outer layers, forming a delicate nebula, glowing softly like a lantern in the dark. At its center will remain a white dwarf, small, dense, shining faintly for billions of years more. It will no longer create, only remember. And around it, the planets, moons, and dust will continue their slow, graceful drift, orbiting a ghost of their former star. But that is not sorrow. It is the universe's way of breathing. Every star lives and fades, and from its ashes, new stars are born. Even the matter that now burns in the sun will one day seed another sky, another set of worlds, another dawn. The solar system, like all things, will transform, not vanish. The light that leaves the sun today will travel far beyond Neptune, past the Kuiper Belt, beyond the Oort cloud, and out into the galaxy. Some of those photons will touch other stars. Some will wander through interstellar dust for 1 billion years before striking something solid. And maybe, somewhere far away, another civilization will see that faint ray of light and know there was once a star that burned calmly, nurturing a small blue world. Perhaps they will build their own telescopes and trace that glow back to where we once lived. Perhaps they will listen to that light the way we listen to the hum of space, the music of motion, the breath of gravity. Even now, the sun's warmth reaches every corner of our system. It glints off Pluto's ice, warms the upper clouds of Venus, sparkles in the icy jets of Enceladus, and paints faint colors on the methane seas of Titan. Light never truly dies. It only travels, transforming as it goes. And so, the solar system itself becomes a cathedral of reflection. Every world, a stained glass window through which the sun's glow refracts into color and meaning. If you close your eyes, you can almost feel it, a pulse that began before you were born, before the earth cooled, before the planets found their places. That pulse continues still, steady and quiet, radiating outward at the speed of light. It moves through the dust, through the comets, through your skin and bones. It is not just the sun's energy, it is the signature of existence. A warmth that says, you belong to this system. You are made of its light. Around the planets drift the moons, silent companions, reflections of their hosts, keeping time with invisible threads of gravity. If the sun is the heart of the solar system, then the moons are its thoughts, circling gently, whispering across the ages. They shape tides, balance rotations, and record in their craters the long memory of creation. Each is a world unto itself, with landscapes and mysteries as rich as any planet's, yet bound to another's rhythm. They remind us that even in space, no body exists alone. The moon of Earth is the first and most familiar. It has no air, no sea, no weather, yet it shapes the living heartbeat of our oceans. Its gravity pulls on the tides, drawing water toward it as it moves across the sky, lifting entire seas by mere inches that become waves upon our shores. It moves farther from us each year, drifting away at the pace our fingernails grow, but its influence endures. Without it, Earth's axis would wobble wildly, and the rhythm of seasons would lose its harmony. The moon steadies our world like a hand upon a spinning wheel, keeping the dance of life in balance. When we look up and see its pale light, we are seeing sunlight reflected across 250,000 miles, a gift of brightness borrowed from the sun and shared freely with the night. Every lunar phase is a slow dialogue between shadow and illumination. The thin crescent after new moon, like a silver breath rising, the first quarter balanced between light and dark, the full moon, perfect and round, bathing the earth in soft clarity, and finally, the waning, the retreat into quiet. It is a cycle older than words, repeated endlessly since before eyes existed to watch it. The same rhythm shapes growth in the sea, sleep in the body, and instinct in all that lives. The moon is not merely a satellite, it is the clock of life itself. But the Earth's moon is only one of many. Across the solar system, moons abound, each adding their note to the symphony of orbit. Jupiter, with its 4 great companions, is surrounded by a miniature system as rich and complex as our own. Io, restless and volcanic, is the most active body we know, its surface remade daily by rivers of molten rock. It glows faintly in infrared light, a living ember caught in Jupiter's gravity, squeezed and stretched until its interior boils. Next drifts Europa, the quiet one. Its smooth, icy shell conceals a global ocean deeper than any on Earth, an ocean kept warm by the planet's pull, warmed enough perhaps to harbor life. No one has seen beneath its crust, but through cracks and ridges of ice, water sometimes escapes, freezing instantly into glittering plumes. In those plumes, we have tasted the chemistry of an alien sea. Then comes Ganymede, largest of all moons, bigger even than Mercury, wrapped in its own magnetic field. Its surface bears the scars of ancient movement, grooves and ridges that stretch for thousands of kilometers, frozen echoes of a restless past. Callisto, farthest of the four, remains untouched by internal heat. It is old, cratered, and serene, a record of impacts from the earliest times. Together they orbit their giant parent in perfect resonance, each pulling slightly on the others, never colliding, always aligned, a quiet choreography of gravity and trust. Saturn too has its family of light. 83 moons circle within and beyond its shimmering rings. Some are small as mountains, others vast as worlds. Titan, its largest, has an atmosphere thicker than Earth's and weather made of methane. Rain falls from golden skies, forming rivers and lakes of liquid gas. If you could stand there, the sunlight would be dim and amber, filtering through haze, and every step would leave ripples in frozen dunes. Enceladus, much smaller, gleams white as polished glass. At its south pole, geysers of icy water burst from fissures, sending glittering plumes hundreds of kilometers high. Beneath its crust, too, lies an ocean, a hidden mirror of Europa's mystery. Each eruption feeds Saturn's faint E-ring, forming a bridge of frozen mist between moon and planet. The moon breathes and the planet shines. Beyond Saturn, the outer giants have moons as well, each strange and beautiful in their silence. Uranus hosts dark and subtle companions, their surfaces dim and shadowed. Miranda, one of them, is a patchwork of canyons and cliffs, some taller than Mount Everest, as if the moon were torn apart and reassembled by unseen hands. Further out, Neptune holds Triton, a captured wanderer moving backward against the flow, slowly spiraling inward. Its surface is pink and white, made of nitrogen ice, and geysers there erupt not from heat, but from sunlight striking frozen plains. One day, Triton will drift too close and be pulled apart, becoming a ring, a final gesture of devotion to its planet. Even the small worlds beyond Neptune, Pluto, Eris, and others, have moons of their own. Pluto's largest, Charon, is so close in size that the two orbit each other like partners in a waltz, circling a shared point in space. To watch them would be to witness balance made visible, a slow dance in the dim light of the sun's farthest reach. Their ice reflects a faint blush, pink and pale blue, the color of frozen sunrise. Though sunlight there is weak, it still shines, proof that even at the edge of darkness, warmth finds a way to linger. The moons are not only companions, they are sculptors. Their pull shapes the rings, stirs the oceans, and stabilizes the orbits of their planets. When a moon moves too close, tides stretch it until it shatters, forming rings of ice and dust like Saturn's or Neptune's faint arcs. When it drifts farther away, those rings fade, coalescing again into new satellites. Creation and destruction follow the same orbit, endlessly repeating, endlessly refining. The same gravitational play gives rise to eclipses, moments when alignment turns light into geometry. When the moon passes before the sun, day turns to twilight, and the stars emerge in daylight's hush. The temperature drops, the air grows still. In that brief silence, the corona shines, a halo of soft fire revealing the sun's delicate tendrils of light. People across history have stood in awe beneath such moments, sensing the precision of the cosmos written across the sky. When the Earth passes between sun and moon, the lunar surface glows red, a blood moon, colored by sunlight filtered through our atmosphere. It is not omen, but order, a demonstration that even shadow follows rhythm. Every moonrise, every eclipse, every shimmering ring is a reminder that gravity is not a chain. It is a connection. The planets hold their moons, the moons return their pull, and together they create patterns of stability that last billions of years. It is a balance both fragile and eternal, like a song played so slowly that only time itself can hear it. If you could drift through this system, you would see how everything circles something else. Moons around planets, planets around the sun around the galaxy's heart. Even the galaxy itself orbits through space, following paths defined by forces older than light. There is no true stillness, only harmony in motion. And yet, within that motion, there is peace. Each orbit perfectly tuned to the others, each cycle renewing what came before. Imagine now floating just above Saturn's rings. The sunlight glints off billions of icy fragments, casting rainbows across the black. A distant moon passes by, leaving ripples in the ring like waves in water. Beyond it, the faint outline of Jupiter gleams in the dark, while far behind, the pale dot of Earth moves invisibly, circling its own companion. Everywhere you look, worlds are moving. Light is bending, shadows are merging into light again. You are surrounded by motion, yet it feels like stillness. This is the paradox of the solar system: perpetual movement, eternal calm. And as you float there, weightless and quiet, you begin to understand. The planets and their moons are not separate things. They are parts of one great body, breathing in light and exhaling motion. Their gravity is the bloodstream, their orbits the pulse. The solar system is alive, not in the way that a creature is, but in the way that a river lives, flowing, shaping, enduring. It has no beginning we can see, no end we can imagine. Only circles, within circles, within circles, an infinite pattern of belonging, turning forever beneath the same sun. Beyond the orbit of Neptune, the light of the sun grows faint. Its warmth, once golden and strong, now becomes a thin whisper on the skin of distant ice. The planets have finished their dance, yet the solar system continues, stretching outward through a twilight realm where comets sleep, where dust glimmers like frozen breath. Here lies the Kuiper Belt, a wide expanse of icy relics, small worlds that orbit slowly through the shadows. They are remnants of creation, frozen since the beginning, fragments that never found a place among the inner planets. Each one carries within it the chemistry of the early sun, locked away like memory in stone. Past the Kuiper Belt, far beyond, where light fades almost entirely, drifts the Oort cloud, a vast sphere of icy bodies surrounding the solar system like a soft cocoon. It stretches so far that even light from the sun takes nearly a year to cross it. There, at the edge of the sun's reach, gravity loosens its hold. Some of these icy wanderers will one day be disturbed by a passing star, nudged from slumber, and begin a long fall inward. For millions of years they will travel silently through the dark until they reach the inner solar system, where sunlight touches them again and turns them into comets. Bright, ephemeral travelers carrying messages from the deep past. Every comet that flares across the sky is a story returning home. It glows because it remembers, because sunlight awakens what has been sleeping for ages. The tail that streams behind it is not flame, but vaporized ice, illuminated by the same fire that once forged the planets. When you see one crossing the heavens, you are watching the solar system breathe, inhaling the past, exhaling light. Beyond that, there is no clear boundary. There is only the interstellar sea, where the sun's influence dissolves into the tides of the galaxy. Here the solar system itself becomes a traveler, orbiting the Milky Way like a single grain of dust following the curve of a spiral arm. It takes about 200 million years for the Sun and its family of worlds to complete a single revolution around the galactic center. In all the time since life began on Earth, the solar system has made only a handful of these immense circuits. Each orbit is a cosmic year, a slow heartbeat within the even larger rhythm of the universe. From afar, the Milky Way glows like a ribbon of powdered light. Its stars number in the hundreds of billions, yet each one to itself feels alone, just as our sun seems alone to us. But all of them are connected by the same gravity, the same invisible threads that bind everything in existence. Through these vast distances, the solar system drifts in serenity, neither rushing nor resting, carried by the gentle current of time. And while we cannot see it move, it is always in motion. The sun travels with its planets trailing behind, a spiral of orbiting bodies streaming through space like luminous seeds in the wind. Mercury races close, Venus and Earth glide together, Mars follows, and far behind, the gas giants turn slowly in their grandeur. Comets drift alongside like delicate sparks, and dust trails shimmer in the wake of light. The entire system forms a moving helix, spinning as it journeys, a celestial dance within the galaxy's endless music. Occasionally, a nearby star passes close enough to brush the outer shell of our solar system, its gravity stirring the Oort cloud, sending new comets inward. Such encounters remind us that even in the deep, still dark, the universe is always touching itself. Systems breathing in harmony, exchanging matter and motion. It is a vast ecosystem of starlight, where every atom, every photon, every orbit contributes to the balance of the whole. Inside that balance, our home star continues to shine, patient and unhurried. Its light, though faint at the edges, reaches across unimaginable space, through the dark corridors between worlds, through the frozen silence beyond Pluto, until it merges softly into the general glow of the galaxy. That same light, after traveling for 8 minutes, touches the surface of Earth, warming oceans, feeding forests, glinting on glass and water and eyes. It is the same light that sculpted mountains, painted auroras, and made life possible. The same light that falls on you now, if you stand in sunlight, a bridge between your skin and the stars. To realize this is to understand that you are not separate from the solar system. The calcium in your bones was forged in stars before the sun existed. The iron in your blood was born in explosions far older than Earth. The oxygen you breathe is the echo of ancient fusion, filtered through oceans and forests and sky. You are not beneath the stars, you are of them. Every atom in you has traveled through time, through fire, through distance, to arrive in this moment. Listening, breathing, resting. If the solar system were a single organism, you would be one of its thoughts. A brief flicker of awareness arising within its endless flow. The planets are its organs, the comets its memory, the sun its heart. And consciousness, however small, is the quiet reflection of that cosmic order, the universe thinking about itself, softly through you. In every orbit, in every photon, there is a trace of the same stillness that lies in your breath. When you inhale, you are imitating the expansion of the cosmos. When you exhale, you echo its gentle return. Even now, new light is leaving the sun, carrying the present into the future. It will travel past the planets, through the dust, beyond the farthest ice, and into the darkness between stars. Some of that light will wander forever, some will touch new worlds not yet born. In that way, the solar system is constantly giving itself to the universe, scattering pieces of its energy like seeds of time. And one day, when the sun fades and its planets grow cold, that energy will not vanish. It will continue in new forms. Stars, dust, gas, light, all recycled into the next great symphony. Perhaps another system will rise where ours once shone, and somewhere within it, another being will look up at its own night sky and wonder, are we alone? And the answer, carried in the faint pulse of starlight, will be the same that we have always known. No, we are part of everything. So now let your thoughts drift outward, beyond the limits of your body, beyond the horizon of your world. Imagine floating above the solar system, watching its planets spin in slow motion around their golden star. See how each orbit fits perfectly with the others, how the whole moves as one, quiet and complete. The sun glows at the center, patient and constant. The planets shimmer like notes on an invisible staff. And beyond them, the galaxy hums softly, an ocean of light with no shore. Everything is connected. Everything moves together. The light that leaves the sun touches your skin. The atoms in your breath once drifted between stars. You are not merely observing the universe, you are the universe observing itself. The solar system turns, the galaxy turns, and somewhere within it all, your heartbeat keeps time with the rotation of worlds. There is no separation, no distance that truly divides. Only motion, only belonging, only light. So rest now. Let your breathing follow the rhythm of the orbits. Let your thoughts dissolve into the quiet current that flows through everything. You are part of the same story as the sun and the planets and the stars beyond. You are made of their dust, sustained by their light, carried by their gravity. The solar system is not something outside you. It is home. It is you. And as you drift into stillness, know that somewhere, far above, the planets continue their endless dance, circling in silence beneath the steady glow of their star. A system of light and shadow, of gravity and grace, a universe within reach of a single breath. Sleep now. The solar system turns on, unbroken, eternal, and you turn with it, quietly, beautifully, forever.